Phu Quoc Prison. Prisoners of war prison. Phu Quoc, or communist prisoners prisons. Phu Quoc is a prison located in the town of Antoi on Phu Quoc Island in the far south. During the Indochina War, prison labor has called the coconut tree. This is the central prisons full of prisoners. Republic of Vietnam once detained more than 32,000 prisoners, 40,000 prisoners if including many periods of political prisoners, during the Vietnam War. According to the propaganda of the National Front for Liberation of South Vietnam, Vietnamese communists, and the Vietnam government today, the prisoners of war in Phu Quoc prison prisoners were subjected to the image punishment, torture as nails on the hands, legs, and head, fire burning red wire rammed into the flesh, perforated teeth, covered Hessian or pour boiling water processing coal fire, thrown into a pan of boiling water, burned alive, buried alive. In the lifetime of less than 6 years, since January 3, 1973, 6, 1967 to Phu Quoc prison prisoners, more than 4,000 people dead, tens of thousands of maimed injured. Prisoners of war prison. Phu Quoc has all 12 zones. 1972 are numbered from 1 to Zone 12. Zone 13 area alone, 14 were built at the end of 1972. Each additional prison area capable of accommodating about 3,000 prisoners. In 1972, around 12 by 3,000 equals 36,000 prisoners. Each district prison was divided into several sections. Often there are 4 sections. The first, a subdivision, accommodate 950 prisoners. B2 zone dedicated to detain the officers. PA largest rank is lieutenant colonel. Prisoners of war prison. Phu Quoc by 3 military police battalions, 7, 8, 12 keepers. Moreover, Phu Quoc prison also has a criminal prison, detained prisoners convicted usually 10 years or more. In the town of Duong Dung, west side of the island, Phu Quoc prison current is one of the historical attractions, where to record the crimes of the U.S. and the Republic of Vietnam. In the struggle against the French-Chinese military in 1949 when the KMT lost its battle against People's Liberation Army, Huang Che General Sunan Province led more than 30,000 troops fled to Vietnam, at the time was stationed in France, launched the southern island of Phu Nations. Then, in 1953, they are in Taiwan under Chiang Kai-shek. They left their homes, plantations. The French saw it take advantage of available homes, set up about 40 hectares wide prison known as Camp Coconut Tree, nearly 14,000 people locked up prisoners. Camp 4 detention buildings A, B, C, D. The communists were French prisoners captured from the battlefield. Central, South, North Vietnam was focused this offer in Phu Quoc prison. The prisoners include about 14,000 people, most of them from prison Don Xa, Hai Phong. As in other prisons in the Indochina War, the communist prisoners at camp activities do a fight against terrorism, oppression, and organized a jailbreak. After more than 1 year at the camp, 99 prisoners were killed, 200 people escaped. In July 1954, after the Geneva Agreement, France returned to the Democratic Republic of Vietnam prisoners in most camps. In the struggle against the U.S. in late 1955, Ngo Dinh Diem's government to build a prison at the old location Dua Strain, with an area of 4 hectares, the main training camp named Coconut Tree, also known as the Coconut Tree Workers. Prison has a male prison, a female prison, jail and old. January 2, 1956, 598 prisoners from the main camp training center was taken to Bien Hoa Gia Dinh jailer, then put down the transport ship carrying naval Hac Giang from Saigon to Phu Quoc. Later there are some political prisoners under the Vietnamese Communist or pro-communist was also taken to the main training camp Duha. In 7 months, from February to September 1956. About 100 prisoners escaped, including one who was shot to death when some hurdles the Pham Van Co, sibling of Pham Hung and Maiton, Commissioners Province. Party Secretary of Rajya also escaped during this period. Seeing the unrest in 1957, the Saigon government put the number of political prisoners in the main training camp Coconut Tree to the mainland and deported a number of Con Dao prison. As the Vietnam War escalated, the number of political prisoners and prisoners increased. The Republic of Vietnam government to build more prisons. Prisoners at Bien Hoa, Pleiku, Da Nang, Can Tho, Kai Nhon. At Phu Quoc, 1966. A large prison was built more than 400 hectares in An Thoi Valley, 2, Coconut Tree stretching old 2 kilometers. 12 district prisons, each with 4 subzones A, B, C, D, with over 400 jails. The prison called Communist Vietnam Pao Phu Quoc, commonly called prison prisoner Phu Nations. Each division, in addition to prisoners and 9 rooms, 2 rooms for interrogation, fines or solitary confinement of prisoners. All 11 rooms have iron truss structure, corrugated roof, corrugated walls, each surface horizontal 5 meters, 20 meters long. 2 top leaves, 2 entrances, about 8 inches width and each side wall sheet, 4 windows, under corrugated wall about 3 feet with space, fence with barbed wire, to guard the prison area. Around each zone has a fortress. Prison guards had placed machine guns, the main gate of the prison watchtower 2, a total control of the Governor Hope's Soup, 2 hours alternately hung once, 24/24 of an hour. Continuous 2 patrol cars around the prison. At night, there are limits on the ring fencing to control current in the subdivision and 10 mobile watchtower. Head of the prison camp commander was a lieutenant colonel or captain, sometimes as a brigadier general. Army of the Republic of Vietnam is a mentor behind the U.S. direct forces guarding the prison consists of 4 military police battalion, a squadron of local troops, a company of engineers, a marine unit and an army boat dog. Phu Quoc prison became the central prisons full of prisoners. Republic of Vietnam detained more than 32,000 prisoners, 40,000 prisoners if including many periods of political prisoners. There are about 12,000 inmates in the regular army, the local army, which has about 9,000 people from the north. There are over 20,000 prisoners or communal militia, hamlets and political officials. There are more than 2,000 officers, non-commissioned officers, 100 prisoners are communist political level intermediate, primary, including 10 provincial commissioners, district commissioners 40, and over 200 detailed commissioner. In May 5-1969 held prisoner breakout success in the B2. Corporal punishment reconstruction scenes. Political prisoners detained in tiger cages during the Vietnam War. According to the propaganda of the National Front for Liberation of South Vietnam, Vietnamese communists, and the current administration, the Vietnam Pao's Phu Quoc prison prisoners were subjected to punishments, torture as nails on the hands, legs and head, fire burning red wire rammed into the flesh, perforated teeth, covered Hessian or pour boiling water, processing coal fire, thrown into a pan of boiling water, burned alive, buried alive. In the lifetime of less than 6 years, since January 3, 1973, 6, 1967 to Phu Quoc prison prisoners, more than 4,000 people dead, tens of thousands of maimed injured. They cited a number of corporal punishment in Phu Quoc prison, but as told by former prisoners are stapling, needles, old prick, closing slowly into 10 fingers. Barbed tiger cages. Type of tiger cages full of barbed wire, woven interlaced around and on the roof. This tiger cage is placed outdoors in this subdivision. Each division has 2, 3 tiger cages, type 1 and type locked 3 to 5. Dimensions vary. Tiger cages, others for prisoners lying on the sand. There is kind of forcing prisoners to lie on the barbed wire. Others just lying or standing, kind of just sat crouched, type to stand stoop, not upright that sits down, will have to sit on the barbed wire. Prisoners to undress, long pants. wearing only knickers to sun, dew, the rain all day and night. Eat light. Prisoners not eat salt. After 2 months his eyes dimmed. After 5 to 6 months with people with blindness. Mixed grill. The grill plate with a circular hole type and full line to getting together and doing backflip. Airport runway, and taking prisoners to undress outside, leaving only his boxers. Prisoners captured grill upside down head first back. After a few times as a prisoner backsplash blood, hair were picked first, peeling ragged. Type barrel. Taking up drums upside. Prisoners are squatting, then type in the barrel. Prisoners would get headaches, deafness as sharp rap and air pressure, just by typing in the barrel filled with water. A prisoner inside the barrel. This torture can cause bleeding from prisoners because of the water pressure. Chisel tooth and broken tooth. Statistics carved into the foot of the prisoner's teeth. Fractured teeth. Hammer thrown. Whip stinger. Supervisor used the whip stingray long, exposing prisoners to beat. Before beaten, half-naked prisoners to be beaten on bare flesh. Roy stingrays often entwining themselves victims, then pulled away, as according to flesh torn. Supervisors can then get into the flesh rubbing chili salt victim. In early 1970, the delegation of the International Red Cross to inspect the Phu Quoc prison has caught a stingray whipstick dried blood. Crucifixion. 3 fertilizer nails used to fix on the fingers of prisoners during torture. Each time the crucifixion, the prisoner's finger bone was shattered. There is also a type of nail 7. 8 feces or both feet too close to the body of the prisoner in the region, ankle, shoulder, ankle, shin, head. Someone was crucified to death, later exhumed the remains of nails lodged in the bones. Taking Hessian covered up prisoner through boiling water into the pan. 3 people in prison have been boiled. C6 subdivision dead. Power lamp used to close the prison for a long time. Who detonated the iris? By fire. Mouth, genitals. Organization of the Red Cross came to Phu Quoc prison in 1969-1972. Observers of this organization have seen the systematic brutality and prolonged in prison. They found physical evidence of torture on prisoners, including scars due to electric torture. Instances of starvation, malnutrition. August 1971, an investigator of the U.S. Embassy in the Republic of Vietnam reports of beatings of prisoners in Phu Quoc continues. In the Republic of Vietnam, armed forces at the prison guard is evaluated only by the number of prisoners escaped from the camp. There is no attempt to discipline the supervisor mistreating prisoners. After the results of the investigation of the MACV in the U.S. Embassy, General Sao Van Veen, Vietnam Commander Republic, insisted that the inspection team of the organization International Red Cross has reported discrepancies in state prison, relic Phu Quoc prison roll scene reconstruction prisoners in Phu Quoc prison in 1995. The historic area of Phu Quoc prison. Ministry of Culture, Information recognized national monuments. Historic sites in Phu Quoc prison include fist-shaped monument, as a symbol of fierce repression and heroic spirit of the region to break the chains of Phu Quoc prisoners. Martyrs Cemetery, and the prison's Phu Quoc prisoner was reconstructed.
The benches do not stand on the benches. Sit on the backs of the benches or the dark. And on your information flyer. The department services.
Come a little closer. I know it's a little cold.